Well, hello, everybody. We made it once again to another episode of Pickup Lines. It is the talk show in a car, a hot car, if you will. So finding shade in San Antonio is a premium right now. But I'm blessed to have one of two candidates for mayor of San Antonio. We'll find out next month. Rolando Pablos is here. And as I told Gina Ortiz-Jones the other day, you have a 50% chance, essentially, of getting the office. When you hear that and your odds, there were 27 candidates before the election the other day. Now it's down to two. How are you feeling right now?
We feel great. I mean, this is an excellent campaign. And I'll tell you, going from 27 to 2 is also a good thing because now we actually get to have conversations with the community, not just 60-second snippets everywhere we go,
Respectfully, there were several city council members in there, people with impressive resumes. Were you at all surprised that you made it to the runoff?
No. Look, everything we heard going around the city is that people want to change. Mm-hmm. So we knew this was going to be a change election.
Is it true that you have never run for public office?
It's true.
Like student council, anything?
No, look, I'm doing this because I want to retire here. I want to improve this community that was so kind to me. I'm not a politician. I'm a public servant.
Student body president?
Nothing.
Well, you went to 4 different colleges?
Four, because St. Mary's was undergrad and law school, so 4.
Okay, so technically, but the thought seriously never occurred to you to run for leadership roles, or I mean, I know you've been in leadership roles, but the president of an organization or the vice president.
I guess when I was in graduate business school, I was the president of the International Student Club or something, but no, that was it.
Not quite mayor of San Antonio, but nonetheless. So here we are. Let's go backwards and we'll work our way to the present day here.
Sure.
You grew up, or you were born in Mexico, is that correct?
Yes, Sonora.
And you were there for the first few years of your life, right?
Yes. My parents moved us to Ciudad Juarez when I was 2. And then when I was 9, we moved from Juarez to El Paso.
Yeah. What do you remember? How many memories, good or bad, do you have of your time in Mexico as a young boy and then the transition to El Paso? What were the circumstances of that?
No, I have vivid memories. I mean, I was there until 4th grade.
Yeah.
So those were kind of my formative years. And then when we moved to El Paso, I mean, I didn't speak any English. I'm a product of public school ESL.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you, whenever I went to school the first time, everything obviously was in English. I didn't know the Pledge of Allegiance. So when I saw the kids stand up and put their hands on their heart, I didn't know what they're doing. So that same day I went home and I memorized it. So that was the first thing that I learned in English was the Pledge of Allegiance.
And it was by memorization.
I didn't know what it meant, but I memorized it because I felt awkward not knowing what was going on in class. I felt left out.
And you didn't become an American citizen until you were a teenager, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm, yeah. I think I can't remember the year, but yeah, I mean, my parents brought us here to seek the American dream, and that's what we're doing.
What did your parents do?
My parents are both dentists, actually.
Okay.
They're retired now.
And they're still around?
They're still around, thank the Lord. They were there on the election night. They actually came in.
Yeah.
Yeah, and they're the most beautiful people you can imagine. My dad's 86. My mom, I mean, she'd probably kill me if I say her age, but
you don't have to. You can cover your mouth if you want.
But you know what? Devout Catholic.
Yeah.
Always pushed us to be our best. My grandfather on my dad's side was a tenant farmer in Mexico, and my dad was the first to go to college. And then when they brought us to this country, they brought us here so we can get an education. And I'm glad to say I didn't let them down.
That's to say the least. And 1 degree would have been fine, but you have what, 4?
5.
5.
Yeah.
Was that a conscious decision to just keep pursuing that?
Look, I'm a very curious guy. My degree in biology was really rooted in the fact that my dad's a dentist, and in Mexico you do what your dad does, and that wasn't really my interest. But I always wanted to be in international business.
Okay.
Be an attorney, and then I put myself through college. Working at restaurants.
Right.
So I went and I got a degree in hotel restaurant management.
Hospitality, kinds of things?
I have a master's in hospitality from the University of Houston at the Hilton College.
But you cannot perform a root canal or do a dental cleaning or anything like that.
No, but I can wash dishes and I can wait tables. That's actually how I met Laura, my wife. I was waiting tables and they sat her in my section and we fell in love.
Okay, so you're in El Paso. You went to high school in El Paso.
Cathedral High School.
But then you came to St. Mary's. So how did San Antonio come on your radar as a teenager? Yeah. How or where were you of San Antonio?
I had never been to San Antonio until the first day my parents dropped me off at Chaminade Hall at St. Mary's.
Oh my gosh.
Look, I got recruited. I went to the sleeping bag weekend meeting in El Paso. That's what St. Mary's had to recruit students. And I fell in love with the concept of coming to San Antonio. And whenever I first came to San Antonio, sight unseen, I realized this was a great place. Celebrating our culture was really what sold it to me. Fiesta, mariachis. I mean, this was a great opportunity for me. And then coming from the desert and seeing all this beautiful hill country, that sold it for me.
True. And Oyster Bake is happening at St. Mary's.
Oyster Bake, yes. That was an amazing experience. My first Oyster Bake, I still remember it because my parents came to visit and my dad was like, "What is this? We've never seen anything like this."
And you haven't left.
We haven't left, no. Other than to do public service. Yeah. No, this has been home. I mean, Laura and I, this is where we met. This is where we got married here at St. Joski's, St. Joseph's downtown. Father David Garcia married us.
Sure.
Our kids were born here. He baptized them at San Fernando. Laura's an orthodontist, retired orthodontist, and now she's a public school teacher at Health Careers High School.
The Phoenix.
Yes.
Smart kids. I know that for sure.
Wow. Those STEM kids, let me tell you. And the parents are on top of their kids.
You decide to plant roots here, obviously get married, start having children, those kinds of things.
Yeah. And this is why I started my first business. My first job out of law school was with a French company here in Westover Hills. We printed scratch-off lottery tickets. And I was their general counsel.
Like for the Texas Lottery?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, French company here in San Antonio. I loved working there because it was truly an international environment. And that's really where I kept my teeth in international law. It was a multinational company. And also that's where I got to understand politics because I was in charge of governmental affairs. But
you couldn't. I'm guessing you legally could not play the Texas Lottery.
We were forbidden from playing the lottery.
For obvious reasons.
Yeah, and we didn't know where the winners were because, the process does not allow us to know where the winners are.
Okay, so no matter how many times I ask you, you had no knowledge of those kinds of things.
That's correct.
Very, very good.
Yeah.
What is your earliest memory of the day when you said, never run for office before, but I want to run for the mayor of San Antonio? You knew Ron Nirenberg was going to be coming up term limited. There must have been that aha moment or a day where it clicked and you said, all right, I'm going in.
So we had been living in Austin when I was Secretary of State.
Right.
As Secretary of State, I got to travel all over the world to promote Texas, the Chief Economic Development Officer for the state. And when we moved back here in 2019, I began to see things that, needed help. So I joined the Greater SATX board. I talked to the mayor. I wanted to make sure I got involved in economic development because that's my area of expertise. I've been doing that for 25 years. And so I began to see things I wasn't liking. And Laura told me to stop complaining and to do something about it, but she never imagined that I would actually do it. And so that's when I decided. And then I saw the opportunity. We have 5 open seats. This is going to be a great time.
On the council.
On the council, yeah. So the timing was just perfect. Ron was rolling off. It seemed great. I talked to friends. And what people would tell me is that our city just needed an expert in economic development. And so that's why I'm doing this. But it's not easy, let me tell you.
No, I'll take your word for it. You have how many children?
We have 4 wonderful kids. Christina is in law school.
Okay.
David just graduated from UT Austin, and he's actually moving back here. He got a job with Turner Construction.
Okay, very good.
So he'll be studying his master's online at A&M, Texas A&M.
Right.
Mia is 18. She has special needs. She has Down syndrome.
Right.
She's at Reagan. The people at Reagan are wonderful. Reagan High School.
Yeah, the Rattlers, yes.
And then Andrea is over at Health Careers.
Okay. So they're older. If your kids were younger, could you run for mayor, do you think, if they were younger?
Yeah, I don't think so. And look, I had many opportunities. People, talk to me about running for District 23, Tony Gonzalez's district right now. For Congress. For Congress. And, all that never really, that kind of an opportunity never interested me. But now everything seemed to fit, just right. I think that running for office requires a special, talent, but also a mindset.
Yeah. You've talked publicly about your daughter, Mia, and obviously having special needs. I know you've struck up a friendship with Gordon Hartman over the years because of that shared connection. And I wonder, not to single out any of your children, but given Mia's circumstances, just what she means to you, how she's taking all of this in, and just kind of the challenges that come with having multiple children, but raising a child with special needs.
Yeah, look, when Mia was born, it was a shock to us. We were shocked for just maybe a few minutes, and then Laura and I decided, okay, this is our gift.
Yeah.
Laura actually left the practice of orthodontics because of Mia. That hurt us financially, as you can imagine.
Right.
But we knew that sacrifice was going to pay off, and it did. Mia is our angel, and let me tell you, the funniest thing recently is that she took some of our campaign materials to school.
To Reagan.
Yeah, to promote her dad running for mayor. And I said, look, you're going to get in trouble. And I just let her take it. But she is so proud of what we're doing.
Right.
And we're so happy for her. She is doing great. She's thriving. And I think that early childhood intervention that we did was really the differentiator.
So she's a junior or a senior?
She's a junior right now.
Okay.
Yeah, she should have been a senior, but she's a junior right now, and she's in Pep Squad, doing great things. And she's loving it. We are very grateful to all the faculty at Reagan High School for really taking care of her.
And how do you juggle, all the things that you've done, serving on boards and leadership positions and being in Austin, or whatever the case may be, just juggling the work-life balance and knowing that if you win this election, your life is going to change as you know it.
Yeah. Well, I'm used to pulling 15-hour days. I've always worked long hours, but I've never sacrificed the family. I always make it a point to be home. Weekends are off limits. Those are for family. And then to the evenings, we always try to have dinner together when possible. My job does take me to other parts of the world. I travel a lot. So when I'm out, Laura has been great at holding the fort down. And, but when I'm in town, family is a priority, top priority.
And you're going to try to maintain that should you become mayor?
Yeah, absolutely. And, we're half empty nesters. Christina and David were gone, but now David's coming back. So, we're putting the family back together, because, Christina hopefully will come in for the summer.
Right. Okay. So all the degrees you have, what is it? Bachelor's in biology, master's in business, the hospitality management, master's, the Juris Doctor, obviously from St. Mary's. Did you ever think about running a restaurant or doing something like that?
Yeah, well, you forgot. I also have a Master's of Law from UT Austin.
Oh, by the way.
Yeah,
just okay.
Yeah, and that one is in international arbitration. It's more to support my international business.
Okay.
But I've actually run a restaurant. My family owned a small restaurant, but I'm more on the development side.
Okay.
I've worked with Chef Johnny Hernandez. I helped him start La Gloria.
La Gloria, sure.
I've helped with the Cortez family. I've represented them for over 10 years.
Right.
The Drury family, the hotel family. And there are many more clients that I have in the restaurant, but I'm more of an advisor.
Yeah.
I can do operations, but that requires just a bunch of time. People don't realize what sacrifice restaurant owners really make. It's a grind.
Right.
Especially when people don't show up to work.
Sure.
But I'm passionate about restaurants. I've worked in restaurants, like I said. I've worked in hotels, and I'm very much interested in making sure that we protect them.
As we're sitting almost in the shadow of La Margarita and Michera here at Market Square, you feel right at home.
This is home. Look, I work with Jorge Cortez to create the Zona Cultural here.
Right.
I was a chairman of the Museo Alameda when we tried to rescue it. And look, with the Cortez family, Pico de Gallo and their restaurants, they represent the culture of San Antonio. This is where Jesse Trevino would hang out, and he's one of my mentors, and I miss him dearly.
Yeah, for sure. And a lot of people miss him, that's for sure. You have siblings?
2 brothers and 2 sisters.
Okay.
My older sister ended up being a dentist, so she's in Houston. My younger sister, Ani, she's an immigration lawyer.
Okay.
Edgar, my brother, we lost him to California. He went out to USC to do film school. And he's in the film industry.
Okay.
And so
Hollywood.
Hollywood. So he's over there on the left coast. And then my brother Julio's in El Paso with my parents there. And, he's doing great.
So, and I can only imagine what your parents must think. And I wonder if how have your mother and father influenced you in their own unique ways, as only a mother and father can, just throughout this process and just your adult life?
Yeah, I think my mom has given me strength and my dad has given me hope. And they've been very supportive. Early on, they couldn't really afford to pay for our college. So, we had to work, and, I'm a Pell Grant recipient. And I was very grateful for that. But my parents brought us here with a purpose. and that is to seek a better life, but also to get an education. They always had the dream of being dentists over here, but they just couldn't pull it off.
Yeah.
But I think we've all made him proud.
Yeah. No, I hear you. A couple more minutes here with Rolando Pablos. PablosForMayor.com is the website, by the way. Early voting starts May 27th, and of course, the runoff election is June 7th. We mentioned this is the first elected office essentially that you've run for in your life. Anything surprise you about this process? Leading up to the election a few weeks ago and just being in the runoff right now?
The most surprising thing was having people who just want to support you,
Yeah.
believe in your message, getting to know new friends. I mean, I've been all over town and I've met some of the most beautiful people. And, I won't say I regret not doing this before, but, I'm glad I'm doing it now because San Antonians are just the best people. And you go around town, everybody's very warm, receptive. Even people that don't agree with me are very warm and receptive. And to me, that was the most surprising thing, is to really see, the entirety of our community,
Right.
Reaching out. But, here we are, down to 2. And our message is resonating. Our campaign is strong. And we believe we're going to win.
And you are, as you mentioned, a man of faith.
Yes.
I wonder how often you take time to just, whatever that means to you, say a prayer or reflect or call to a higher power. Just how much of a regular role that plays in this whole process as you're running for mayor?
Daily. I pray every day, multiple times a day. I'm a little modern. I have an app that's called Hallow. And that really helps me guide my prayers. And I wake up around 5 a.m. and I take that first hour to pray. And sometimes I go for a walk with my headset. In the Hallow application is really wonderful. I highly recommend it because it guides your prayers. And let me tell you, we have to get closer to God, especially as a community. We're, like I said, I grew up in a devout Catholic family.
Right.
I won't, I'll admit there's times when you forget to pray, but being consistent has been one of the greatest things for me.
I guess lastly, though, has your faith ever been tested in a way that you just weren't sure if you could come out the other end?
Well, I don't know if it's been tested, but look, 3 years ago, I was diagnosed with cancer. I had a tumor the size of an egg in my right kidney, and we discovered it by accident. And the only solution was to remove my kidney, so I lost my kidney. But when the doctor tells you there might be a chance that you could die, it turns your world upside down. It makes you think of things. But then when you wake up in the recovery room, knowing that you got a second shot at life, then all of your priorities change.
Yeah.
And so I think rather than being tested, I think it was fortified because I knew God gave me a second chance at life. And that's why I'm doing this kind of stuff, because we need to give back to our community. Yeah. And so here I am, I'm running around with one kidney.
Remarkable story, and you're cancer-free.
Cancer-free, thank
the
the Lord.
The prognosis is good.
Thank the Lord.
Okay.
Yes, absolutely. Cancer-free. It was one of those situations where it didn't go beyond just whatever that tumor was.
Yeah, very good. Well, listen, that's a good place to leave it right there. PablosForMayor.com is the website. Again, early voting runs May 27th through June 3rd. The election night, of course, is Saturday, June 7th. No flambeau parade this year, or this time on June 7th, to keep people home. All the best to you, Mr. Pablos. Rolando Pablos, thank you very much. Appreciate it. There you have it. Another episode of Pickup Lines. We'll be back again very soon. You never know who'll be in the seat here with me, but we always appreciate the conversation. Until next time, I'm Ernie Zuniga. We'll see you. Bye.